Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Can We Just Talk, where we are debunking the idea that it's uncomfortable to talk about money. Today's topic is a rather hot topic, which is renting. Is renting a waste of your money?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shaz, and I'm a senior digital writer, and I live with my parents.
I'm Cheryl, I'm the digital editor. I've been renting for about 3.5 years already.
So we actually recently concluded our What Woman Want survey, and we found that 48% of our respondents, that's nearly half, are actually paying rent or mortgage. So what I want to find out from you both is that whether you feel is renting a waste of money, especially if you're living in a place like Singapore where property prices are so high.
I feel that renting, I wouldn't say renting is a waste of money, but it does take up a lot of your expenses, especially if I would consider myself quite young. It does take up a lot of your expenses if you're earning as much as I do. I feel like there isn't a need when you have the luxury. I mean, for me, fortunately, I have the luxury of staying with my parents and we're all on good terms. So, just being comfortable, staying with them, and at the same time, I feel like I can save up a lot.
I don't think it's a waste of money at all, especially if you're going to prioritize your mental health. I grew up in a very chaotic household. There were a lot of us living in the same house, multiple of us sharing the same room. And I think that was okay for the longest time until it just came to a point where I just needed some privacy. I needed my own space, and I couldn't do that while living with this many adult people in the house. So this is why Big Brother people fight. This many adults cannot live in the same house.
Obviously, the advantage of renting is your mental health and peace.
Yeah.
But the disadvantages when it comes to the cost, is it very significant?
I think when I chose to finally move out, I also made sure that I could afford it, and I had to budget carefully to make sure okay, can I afford to still save, still be able to lead a nice life? So I made sure that I found places that were within my how much I earned, and I had proper financial planning and things like that.
Yeah. But I know, Cheryl, you moved out during the pandemic period. So then tell us a little bit more about what searching for an apartment was like during that time also.
So actually moving out just before the pandemic, that was great. Because at that point of time, not many PMAPs, right? Young Singaporeans were moving out. So if you were a young Singaporean, and the housing market here is also a bit racist, you get the pick of any apartment that you want within your own price range. And then because COVID, everyone kind of knew lockdown was going to happen, we managed to kind of lock down bargain basement prices for an apartment when I was looking with my housemate.
On this topic, right, we also asked our What Woman Want survey respondents on how much they're paying for rent or mortgage each month. The median, or the average, was about 1,293. So how much do you think is too much when it comes to paying rent?
I think anything more than 1.2 is already quite expensive
for you
for me right now. Yeah, at this stage in my life, because there are other things that I would like to spend my money on, because you just want to live life first. I don't want to think about marriage. Marriage is another thing. Let's not touch on that. But I still want to save up for my future household. So let's say, what if when I reach 35, what if I have to buy a house of my own and I don't have a partner? Then I have to worry about my own expenses, right? So it's just if I can save the amount of money, I would. But of course, having that option to rent a place and have a place called my own is great. You have the freedom and everything, but at what cost? Yeah.
Literal cost.
Yeah. Again, I think it's proportionate to how much you make, right? I don't think it's fair to say there's an X amount that's too much to pay for rent. 1.2 in rent to someone who is making 15K it's only it's less than 10% of their pay. So that's affordable to that person. So whenever I look for an apartment, I also just make sure that how I kind of divide it out is that, okay, I want to save this amount. I want to be able to have this amount of discretionary spending, this amount in non-negotiable spending, right? And then the remaining is how much I can use for rent. And then you got to factor in that it's not just rent, right? You got to now pay for food, you got to pay for utilities. If anything breaks down, you got to be able to do all of that. So for me, could I afford to actually maybe rent a studio on my own? In proportion to my salary, yes. But if I did that, it would be very, very difficult to save, and I wouldn't be able to kind of like enjoy life the way that I want to. So I ended up getting a housemate.
Stepping on that then, how does renting affect your overall financial plan in terms of retirement saving?
I mean, of course it does slow it down in a sense where like now a good chunk of your salary is going to renting, right? But the thing is, what I also realized is that after I moved out, I think because you know that you have to pay rent and you don't have as much discretionary income, you kind of figure out your budgeting a lot better. So maybe last time when I was living at home, I would be more careless about taking cab. I'll be more careless about eating outside because I'm living at home while my mother is cooking, so I don't have to pay for a lot of things, right? So I wouldn't think twice about, say, going shopping or eating something expensive because I had all this money to spend. When I moved out, I don't have any of those things, right? So in a way, I feel like I budgeted a lot better after I moved out because I have so many more other expenses to be in charge of. Yeah, and I felt like I saved a lot more also, actually.
Maybe I should start renting.
No, and this was something that I learned from like a former intern of mine who was like your age. And she said that she also realized that she saved more money after she moved out because she couldn't get her parents to fetch her anymore.
Right.
She had to cook all her own food. So your mindset just completely shifts, which is something that I really did not predict when I moved out. I really felt like I became a lot more of an adult after I moved out because you are completely responsible for yourself.
If, like, let's say your list is up, but the property market is still currently, like, people are paying like 70% more, right? Will you still continue to rent?
I think at this point, if my rent gets increased by like 20 to 30%, I still will be able to afford it because I do have a housemate, so whatever increase at least is split by me and him. I also don't want to be someone who is just like, I want to rent and then I cannot cover all the other expenses, I cannot save, because you also cannot just have short-term thinking, right? Because I'm also at the age where in a couple of years I will also be able to get like my own flat. So I also have to keep that in consideration, that I cannot just use all my income just renting.
And for Chas, you live with your mom, right? Like, I think one of the reasons that so many young Singaporeans move out is because maybe conflict around at home, or you just need a personal space. So then what are some of the potential conflicts or challenges that arise when you live with your mom?
I guess there are a lot of pros living with my mom. I mean, yes, like she mentioned, like, you know, sometimes she does cook, and then we do help out with each other when it comes to like doing the chores and everything. But I think aside from saving money, I like staying at home with my mom because, like, you know, you get that companionship. And like, if I'm renting a place alone, I don't have anyone, and it's only me, and I'm only handling that rent by myself. I think, but when it comes to disadvantages, well, because we do have a good relationship with each other and we do talk to each other every single day. I mean, I would say we spend like 2-3 hours talking to each other every day.
So nice.
So just like catching up and just like, you know, it's great. The only downside is maybe I can't really have my friends over too late. Or maybe, you know, there aren't a lot of disadvantages, honestly.
To be fair, if you're renting and you're renting with other people, you might not also be able to do that. You have to be to be a good housemate, you have to be considerate, right? So you also wouldn't do stuff like that. Like for me, I share a place, so I also don't get to live 100% exactly how I would like it to be. But I'm good with like 60-70%.
To you, it's worth it, those, like what you get with the 60-70%? Yes. It's worth it compared to if you're living with your parents.
And my relationship with my mom improved after I moved out because I think we're just less in each other's faces.
Do you ever foresee like a period in your life where you will move out and rent?
I guess maybe I do. I actually thought about it last time when I was in a relationship, and I just thought like maybe, you know, if this progressed even further, like I wanted to see how it would be like living with my partner then. And then I think that was the only time where I actually considered renting a place. So I mean, in a few years' time, if ever I find someone, but like I would consider. But for now, it's just like I rather live by myself with my mom and just still enjoy that companionship and like spend time with her, because I think back when I was younger, I didn't get to spend enough time with her. So just try and make up for that time lost,
Let's talk a little bit about renting versus buying a house long term. Do you guys feel like it's worth it to rent right now?
I think right now for me, because the timeline to buy a house isn't that far away, I think my rental journey hasn't been that long. So I'm still kind of like okay. I still think that I wouldn't mind buying a house, but I guess for me right now is that I'm single, so I don't have any huge financial burdens. I don't have to be responsible for anybody else. I can kind of live life however I want, right? So there's also the possibility of being mobile. Like, what if I want to live somewhere else, like in a different country? What if I want to work elsewhere, right? Then do I want to then be tied down with paying mortgages and everything? I guess right now, because my life is still very fluid, so I'm kind of on that path where, okay, I just follow what the typical Singaporean way is like wait until I can get my house. So I'm still planning my finances according to that, but I guess if it changes, it changes.
I would rather save up to buy a house in the future or find someone to buy a house for me.
I mean, that's the
dream.
Yeah, that's the
The
dream.
dream.
Okay, that's the dream. If you can get a house with someone and I could split the cost, that is the dream.
Exactly.
Yeah, but sometimes dreams don't come true lah. So we also have to plan.
It's okay, manifestation.
Yeah, manifestation. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess right now, like, I'd rather just save up to buy a house, and at the same time, like, it's not my focus right now, because I do want to still travel. Oh my god, like typical millennial, right? I still want to travel, live life, go out with my friends and everything. Right now, my priority isn't set on finding a place of my own, because that's what I'm looking at the moment.
I think renting is very subjective. Like, both of you have different circumstances and different priorities right now. Everyone has different perspectives on this. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let us know in the comments somewhere.
Like,
Comment, subscribe.
Yeah. We'll be back with more topics for you to watch and listen.